Hi everyone, and welcome to Quarantine Cuisine. We're all stuck inside together, so we might as well learn some new ways to cook. What are we going to do today? Spaghetti Carbonara, one of my favorites. So what do we need for that? Alright, so I've got about half a pound of bacon here, some parmesan, freshly grated, I don't know, 2/3 of a cup, and we've got 6 eggs. Yes, one of them is white, the rest are brown. It's what's available in the store right now. It's what I could find, okay? The color doesn't matter. We're gonna take 5 yolks only and 1 whole egg. That's important. Don't include the whites except for maybe 1, okay? Now over here on the stove, we've got our pot of water that's ready to boil and our cast iron skillet to cook the bacon in. I'm gonna go ahead and get that one started and get the pasta water started. And then I'm going to put in about, I don't know, a fistful of salt. A lot. You can't really oversalt your pasta water. Now, there's a trick to spaghetti carbonara. And the hardest part is to make sure that your eggs don't turn into scrambled eggs rather than some creamy goodness in sauce, okay? So the way that we're going to do that is with this. A lot of people will put their sauce together and toss their pasta in the sauce in the pan, and that works fine, and it works great for a lot of people. I've tried that before, and I've found that when I do scramble the eggs, it's most often in the pot. So we're going to do this to sort of eliminate some of the treacherousness of using the pot. So what I'm going to do is get the spaghetti, get the bacon going, start putting the sauce together, and I'll show you what it looks like when I put the things in the bowl, okay? Now, a little trick for getting those egg yolks out, okay? Crack the eggs over a second bowl. And then, come on, put only your yolks in that bowl. That way, if you accidentally get too much white in something or too much yolk in something, it's in the trash bowl, not the bowl that's going into your sauce. And those egg yolks make good compost. And those egg shells make good compost. Did I actually say yolk? That was weird. You don't compost your yolks. Eat your yolks. I mean, I guess you could compost them, but they're so delicious. Why would you bother? I can hear that bacon starting to render off. It's starting to smell pretty good in here. And that last one, we're just going to go ahead and put the whole thing in there and remove the shell. Okay. Now we're going to give those eggs a good beating. Save the whites for something else. We're not trying to make fluffy scrambled eggs here, so we don't need to really lay into these or anything. That's good enough. Now, as you can see, our bacon is starting to render off really good here, and our pasta water is almost at a boil. One thing I did forget to mention earlier, something that is crucial to doing this, a good set of tongs. A good set of spring-loaded tongs will enable you to toss the pasta in the sauce in a way that just makes it delicious. Now that we've got a good rolling boil on our water, we're going to go ahead and add the pasta. Never struggled so much to open a bag of pasta in my life. And go ahead and, get that down all in there. One thing I've noticed in my past experience is if you let that pasta rest on the side of that pot right there, it will burn. So once we get that all in there, We want to make sure that's cooked until about al dente. So it should still have a little bit of a bite to it. You definitely do not want mushy pasta. So I've gone ahead and extracted the bacon along with a little bit of the bacon fat in there, okay? I've let it cool for a bit, and sort of switching it around in this bowl helps it cool a little bit. That way it doesn't cook our eggs before we get a chance to actually make our sauce. So that seems relatively cool right now. While it's finishing up cooling, I can, give it a little toss. Anything to sort of help it cool a little bit. Now, I'm not really gonna add salt, although I'm not a person that's afraid of salt. I am definitely gonna add pepper. See, there's a lot of salt in the bacon, and there's a lot of salt in that parmesan over there. So it doesn't really need much more salt. It does, however, need some freshly cracked black pepper, if you have it. Okay, in with the parmesan. Just put that all in there. Okay, give that a good stir. Make sure it's not too hot. All right, and then we can add our eggs. All right, mix that around a little bit. And there we have the basis for our sauce. There's still one more thing to go in there, but we're not quite ready for that yet. What we're going to do is basically temper it with the pasta water. And I'm waiting for the pasta to be almost done before we start doing that. Why wait for the pasta water to be almost done? Well, there's a lot of salty, pasta-y goodness in there that's really going to add a lot to this sauce. And it's going to get a lot of the salt from the salt water that we're basically cooking our pasta in. So if we wait just a little bit until the pasta's almost done, we'll have a better chance of getting all those flavors in. In addition, what we'll be able to do is make sure that our temperatures are right. Remember, we don't want to cook the eggs till they're scrambled. We want to cook them until they're creamy and delicious. If we get the temperature a little bit closer to the end, that'll enable us to do that a little bit better. When you've been cooking as long as I have, you can sort of tell when the pasta's done by the color of it. That's not quite there yet. It's probably really hard to see on the screen. But the only real test, forget flinging it against the wall or any of that nonsense, is to taste it. Okay? Now, I can tell it's not done yet, but if you just go ahead and put some to the side, give it a taste, see if it's to the right texture, and then you're ready to go. Now, here's the tricky part. We take a little bit of the pasta water, this is 1 ladle, and we slowly incorporate it into our eggs. This is called tempering. It brings the temperature of the eggs up a little bit more slowly rather than hitting it with all of that hot pasta. And that's probably enough right there. We don't want to get watery. Okay, so all we have left to do is wait for our pasta to finish. Oh, okay, cooked and drained spaghetti, sauce. We'll start with a little bit at a time, just to gradually bring that temperature up. Keep going. Just give it a good toss. Well, video issues are always fun, apparently. So I went ahead and finished tossing it right there. Look how delicious that looks. And not only is this going to be great for the cook, it's not that hard, but it's a definite crowd pleaser. Boys, time for dinner! One more thing before they show up. Put pasta in bowls. That way it's easier to get the sauce on all the pasta. Hey, we're having bacon spaghetti. Carbonara. Quick update. This bowl is empty. Now, I told you, it's a crowd pleaser. Usually a pound of pasta serves 4 people. This was only 3. So you can see how well it went over. I often do this for just 1, sometimes 2. 4 ounces of pasta, 2 eggs. Yolks only. Okay? Enjoy. Update 2. Not only was it gone, the bacon came back for thirds.